Welcome to the Broadway Shuffle, a Texas Tech sports podcast presented by Wonder Tree. On today's episode, we break down Texas Tech basketball's huge Big 12 win over Houston and Lubbock and debate what the ceiling is for the Red Raiders. As always, I am Brennan Baxter, pleased to be joined by my co-host, Clayton Anderson, and the one and only Conrad Mills. Gentlemen, it's cold, it's snowy, it's freezing in Lubbock, Texas, but that did not stop the fans at the USA to show up for Texas Tech's huge 90-86 win over the Houston Cougars. Conrad, we've talked going into the week about what a 2-0 week for Texas Tech could mean, bookending it with a win against the Cougars. They were able to get it done. Your thoughts on that game?
Yeah, that was one of the most fun college basketball games I've ever had the privilege of watching. I mean, the shot making in that game was unbelievable. I mean, both sides. I mean, Houston, we know how good of a team they are. The respect that Texas Tech has for them is really through the roof. But, you know, being able to come out on top 90-86 at home with that crowd, with the weather like it was, and even the college game day environment beforehand. I don't know if you guys watched that. Just with the weather, I mean, it just added to the ambiance of it. So really excited. I think this really bodes well for Texas Tech moving into this next week, where we don't play until Saturday against UCF in Orlando. But it was a great week for Texas Tech basketball, and really excited to see what this team becomes in the future.
Yeah, Clayton, watching that game, we were texting, this is one of the best basketball games I've seen in years. I mean, it was just the shot making, as Conrad mentioned. Kingston Flemings for Houston, unbelievable kid, true freshman, drops 40 on you. Texas Tech scores 55 in the first half. Houston's given up 60 points over the course of the entire season in a game, and you almost had that in the first half. What do you make of Texas Tech's performance and their ability to score in this game, just against Houston, who, coming in, we were thinking, how do you beat Houston enough offensively with their physicality on defense? And Texas Tech made it look pretty easy, dropping 90 on them.
Yeah, I feel like you should get some kind of trophy for putting up 90 against the Kelvin Sampson team. I believe it's the first time that's, seriously, first time that's happened since Memphis did it in 2018. I'm just super impressed with this team and Grant McCaslin's ability to coach offense, and Jeff Linder. You could see the adjustment they made from the Houston game with the traps that Christian was getting. They were short rolling JT Toppin in the first game and trying to get him like near the elbow in the middle of the key. And this time they just kind of moved him out to the 3-point line with Atwell on that side. So no one could really help off of him. And it was just letting JT go one-on-one. If that guy does drop down, then you have Atwell right there. I feel like that made a huge difference. Took a lot of the weight off of Christian Anderson. But yeah, I mean, the shot making from both sides, Kingston Flemings and Emmanuel Sharp were also both ridiculous. And then, of course, JT Toppin, Atwell, and Petty were all incredible as well.
Yeah, and you know what you're getting with Houston and Kingston Flemings and Sharp, who's been there forever. But when Tugler went out of the game, that severely impacted Houston's ability to stop you defensively. And it's crazy that impact that guy makes for them. But looking at this box score, too, I mean, you look at Christian Anderson, you mentioned he had 12 points on 2 of 9 shooting, 1 of 7 from 3. So he struggles a little bit. I got a lot of heat for saying LaJuan Watts' name wrong, and I apologize. But I read it how I see it, and I'm sorry. So if I mispronounce names, live with it. But I'll work on it. But Watts is 0 of 8 from the field, gives you absolutely nothing. But then you have Petty and Atwell, who both give you 18 points. And so to me, what this was showing for the Red Raiders is you can have different guys do it. Atwell's shooting the lights out of the ball this past week. We saw what he did in Waco. Petty continues to develop into an absolute stud. And so even when Anderson struggles or Watts struggles a little bit, you are now seeing other guys step up outside of Toppin that can help you win a game. And when you're able to do that against a team like Houston, you can beat anybody in the country. And so really, Conrad, like after seeing this and this week and Texas Tech now 16-4, what do you think the ceiling is for the Red Raiders?
That's pretty easy, right? It's a national championship. I mean, this team is unbelievable, right? Like the ceiling, like the best case scenario ceiling, that's what it is. Like when Christian doesn't play, I mean, he still had 9 assists, so he still played well, but he didn't shoot particularly great. If you have a game where everybody shoots lights out, which with this type of shooting team is very possible, you could put up 110, 115. I mean, it's not out of the realm of possibilities now. Is it going to happen? Who knows? But the ceiling with this team, obviously things have to break right for you in March. but the ceiling has to be a national championship. Would you guys push back? I mean, especially with Mosley and Brian. Mosley gives you, I think it was 10 minutes, and then Brian gives you 19 minutes. I mean, now you've got two pieces to be able to get these starters some rest. I mean, I'm pretty optimistic right now, but it's hard not to be. Do you guys agree, disagree, national championship being the ceiling for the Red Raider basketball team?
I agree. I think there's only so many teams where like the realistic ceiling is a national championship and not like the dream ceiling. But I think that Tech is definitely one of those. Basically, the point I made yesterday in the group message was like the coach giving Grant McCasland a duo as good as Toppin and Christian Anderson. I feel like the ceiling has to be national championship, just because in a lot of those games you're going to have two of the best players on the court or two of the top three best players in the game. And then most of them, I would take Grant over the opposing coach. And I think the rest of the squad is just like coming into form, basically what we've been calling for the last few weeks. Brian is actually giving you something. He's playable. You're getting Mosley back, who looked really solid, albeit definitely he looked out of shape for sure, but the shooting from him and the rebounding was a nice touch. I think he can fit well with Toppin. So I think with the depth filling out the way it is, the ceiling, if things go right, is easily cutting down the nets.
Yeah, Clay, how big is Josiah Mosley coming back? Because we haven't seen him at all this year. He's barely practiced. So for fans that aren't as familiar with him, what does this guy really bring to you? We saw the 2 threes that he made, but what does he bring you that you haven't had on this team where you feel like he could be that X factor to help take you to a Big 12 championship and potentially a Final Four run?
I think he's just another big wing defender, a good rebounder. Honestly, the thing I was expecting from him offensively was kind of like a slasher / offensive rebounder. I honestly did not know that he had the shooting in his bag, but hitting 2 threes in your first game back after practicing twice, I think is a good sign that, because I feel like a big part of McCasland's teams at Tech has been spacing. And so just having another guy that doesn't, shrink the floor is huge. And I think it's also big. He can actually give Toppin some rest at points. I still would like to see Toppin some minutes get down to like 33, 32. And I think Mosley is like the one guy you can actually rest Toppin and keep him in there.
Yeah. I think it just, when you have a versatile guy that's 6'8", they can slash and hopefully shoot the three as well as he did on Saturday, that bodes well for Texas Tech. For sure. Let's get to JT Toppin, Conrad, because 31 points, 12 rebounds. Like, teams know this guy is JT Toppin, right? Like, you think, let's throw a double at him. But Toppin's ability to pass out of the double team has been huge. And he struggled from 3, but I love the fact that he's taking those because it forces teams to respect it. And he's going to keep putting them up. And if you're going to trap Christian Anderson or blitz him every time a ball screen comes, it just opens up the floor. But 31 and 12 against Houston, Conrad. Is JT Toppin a legitimate threat to win the Wooden Award and be the player of the year? And in your mind, do you think he should up to this point with how much he brings to Texas Tech?
I mean, you can't argue with, what he can do on the field. Like, that's been evident since he got to Lubbock, right? I mean, it was evident before that when he was at New Mexico, but I think with what he's doing and how he's improved, because he has improved. I mean, looking at the season totals this year, I mean, he's shooting 25% from 3, which, I mean, is not incredible, but it's a good number. Like, it's a serviceable number, and how he's improved in that regard, and how he is on the defensive side of the ball with being able to block shots like he can, and he's just an amazing athlete that has really blossomed at Texas Tech under Grant's coaching and the other coaches as well. So I think, looking at him, because when you know what a guy is going to do, and when you know how good he is at all these things that he's good at, and you still can't stop him, that really speaks to someone's greatness, right? Whether you see it in football, basketball, whatever, it doesn't matter. And that's what the kind of player JT is. And so for me, obviously being a biased Texas Tech fan, because we are a Texas Tech sports podcast, I don't understand how you could watch JT Toppin and not say, okay, this guy should be in that conversation. I would pick him to win it. But again, I am a biased Texas Tech fan. Would you guys say there's somebody else that maybe you think would be better? Or what are your thoughts on JT potentially getting that award?
I mean, Clay, when I look at JT Toppin and just reading his game logs the last couple weeks, he played 40 minutes yesterday. He did not come off the floor. He did the same thing against BYU. Yeah. So essentially what Texas Tech is saying is we can't afford to take you out of the game. And even great players, Braden Smith at Purdue, there's other guys around the country, Bradley at Arizona. There's guys that are playing great basketball, but Boozer at Duke, but they're able to sit for a little bit. Like the amount of impact that JT's top is making and the motor that he has to still make plays with 4 minutes left in the game, still get an offensive rebound, outwork people in the paint. After logging 34 minutes against a team like Houston to still be able to go is insane to me. Like there's no one else in the country that's putting up his level of production in the amount of minutes that he's having to play for this team due to the lack of depth and the injuries on the team. And the Utah game, 31-13, 36 minutes. BYU, 27-13, 40 minutes. Houston, 40 minutes, 31-12. I mean, come on. Clay, like who else is doing that across the country right now?
Yeah, agreed. I think he definitely has a strong argument. I wish I could have looked this up beforehand, but just looking at his stats this year, I guarantee if you looked at the list of college players who have hit the marks of 22 points a game, 1.5 blocks, 1 steal, and 2 assists, it would be a very short list of people. That's what he's doing. Plus the 11 rebounds a game. I also think just the way that Houston defended us is just such a testament to having a guy like Christian. Like they would rather double Christian at the top of the key and let Toppin go one-on-one than just play both of them straight up. And I think that's something that we, even if the starting 5 may have been more balanced last year, that's not something that we had last year where like they were taking a double away from Toppin. That would have been unheard of. So I think that just having Christian just opens up the floor so much for him. And I mean, I'll take my chances JT Toppin one-on-one with anyone in the country. So I definitely think he's a top 5 player. He has a for sure case at the player of the year.
Yeah, it's a great point you made about moving Atwell to the short corner. Because if you're going to trap Anderson and then he's just going to dump it to Toppin, but then Atwell's sitting there who's close to a 50% shooter from 3, probably higher from the corner threes, you're just asking to get cut up, man. Like there's just not much you can do about that. And compared to last year where you had Elijah Hawkins, you could afford to double off Elijah. Like if Elijah beats you with 3s, he beats you with 3s, and there are times he did. But Christian Anderson's a much better playmaker and can affect the game in much different ways than Hawkins could. So it's scary. If Atwell continues to shoot like that, and if you get anything from Mosley, I don't know if there's many teams that can beat you. You do have Arizona in the conference who's still undefeated. We'll get to them in a little bit when we look around the Big 12. But this team beat Duke on a neutral floor. They beat Houston at home. They beat BYU. I mean, we were looking 3-4 weeks ago thinking, oh, man, should we be concerned? I had people texting me in November, and I kind of laughed them off. I was like, talk to me in February. And they were like, man, Tech basketball must not be very good. You morons, like total morons, right? Like, relax. 20 games in, I'm thinking this team can win a national championship, Conrad.
Yeah, you guys are giving me goosebumps. And it's not just because it's cold outside, but it's because of how you're talking about Texas Tech basketball. I mean, it's just, yeah, it's an exciting time. And, it's shame on anyone, including myself, for doubting.
I was talking to you, Conrad, team. By the way.
Yeah, no. I mean, but there were reasons to doubt, right? There were some legitimate concerns to have, but they were just wrong. And we're going to admit when we're wrong here on the podcast, except for when it comes to certain things. But I'll admit when I'm wrong there. And so it's exciting times for Texas Tech basketball, and really looking forward to seeing what happens the rest of the year, and seeing if we can win a Big 12 championship and what seed we'll get in the tournament.
Yeah, seeing the crowd too, man. The people that braved the cold and the ice, the students. ESPN talked about it a lot on the broadcast. Just, man, look at this atmosphere. Schulman was talking about it. Billis was talking about it. And it's just great to see. They did this graphic during the game of the wagons. I don't know if you're watching at ESPN. It showed all the championships that Texas Tech, indoor track, softball, basketball, football, obviously. And it's just, man, what a special time to be a Red Raider. We've said that now for a couple of years, but you feel it and you see that crowd. You're like, there's just not many atmospheres better in the entire country. And that's a testament to Kirby Hoka and the basketball program that's been able to do this now roughly for 8 years and 3 different coaches. Not many programs can say that either when you got to make that change.
Don't forget the Broadway Shuffle started in 2024, Brennan. Don't forget that.
Yeah, there's a key element there too, the Broadway Shuffle. Well, Clay, before we get to the play of the game, were there any moments that defined the game for you where you thought, okay, we're going to win this basketball game? You shoot lights out in the first half, but you typically regress to the mean. It's hard to keep that up for 40 minutes. So you had to battle back, like you were down. Was there a moment for you specifically in that second half where you thought, oh, wow, like Texas Tech's going to get this done?
Oh, that's tough. The game is honestly such a blur. I'm trying to remember like specific moments. I think whenever Brian hit that driving layup, I felt really confident. I honestly was confident in us winning for most of the game. Rather, the only time where I actually felt some doubt was when I think they went up by like 6 in the second half. But like in the first half, they were shooting like 70% from three. They had 3 possessions where they got at least 4 points, and they were up by like 7. I just felt like that was like a pretty good omen for us. But after Flemings was key, I thought Flemings would regress in the second half, and he didn't. That's where some doubt started to creep in. But I'd say probably like the Tyree Bryant driving to the layup. I can't remember if that gave us the lead or not.
Yeah, it did, I think.
Okay, yeah. After that, I felt pretty confident that we were going to win. And then those 2 Atwell threes were huge.
Yeah. Hey, good segue there. Yeah, man. And Flemings, hey, credit to that kid. I'm telling you, when I watch him, 18 years old, he can score at all 3 phases. He can get to the bucket. His mid-range is great, and he can knock down the 3. He's going to be a problem come March. That's the type of kid that can single-handedly carry you to a Final Four. Texas Tech has one too, but I'm just impressed. He became one of my favorite players in the sport. Watching him yesterday, just a cold zone killer, man. But let's get to or go ahead
real quick. The rest of the country should be thanking God that Flemings did not commit to Tech, because a Flemings Anderson backcourt would literally be undefendable.
Impossible. That'd be impossible. Yeah. Could you imagine that? Like, what do you do with Toppin?
It would have been insane.
It would have been absolutely insane. Well, with that, let's get to the play of the game, sponsored by Hub City Body Shop, proud supporters of Texas Tech. Big plays come with big hits, and if your car ever takes one too, Hub City knows how to fix it. So, Clayton, with that, what is the Hub City play of the game?
Yeah. So for our inaugural play of the game, it's actually going to be the plays of the game. There was a bunch I considered, but I think the biggest moment in the game was the Atwell back-to-back corner threes off a top and assists. One of them was to take the lead by 1, and then the other one next possession was to go up by 4. He never looked back after that. I think that second one was really the dagger. Just huge shots by him, and a credit, like I said earlier, to Grant putting the offense in that position. Where you either let Toppin go one-on-one or it's an Atwell corner 3, and it worked out. So plays of the game, Donovan Atwell back-to-back threes late in the second half.
Yeah, those were 2 huge clutch threes. And shout out to Donovan Atwell, man. He hit big free throws too at the end of the game. He's adding a dimension to your offense that even with Corwin and Chance last year, you didn't really have. I mean, this guy's a sharp shooter, and he's able to space the floor in a lot of ways kids can't. So good for him, and thank you to Hub City Body Shop for sponsoring the play of the game as well too. Conrad, let's look around the Big 12. We talked about it. Texas Tech now 6-1. You're right there in the hunt, but Arizona stays undefeated. Iowa State rolls again, coming off of 2 losses last week. They're back. And then UCF, a team you faced in Orlando on Saturday, surprising a lot of people this year at 15-4. And then Dybansta with BYU drops 43 in a win. And Kansas is peaking at the right time. So your thoughts on the Big 12 right now and where Texas Tech stands after the win against Houston? You're very much right there, but some of these other teams, man, the Big 12, it's still one of the deepest, if not the deepest conference in all of college basketball.
It absolutely is, and I think it has an argument to be the best. And I will say the one thing you didn't say there that is on the document that I'm looking at right now is that the Baylor stock is way down. So we need to we need to rejoice in that before we even talk about anything else. I will say this team, I think, and I'm curious to know what you guys think, looking around the Big 12 and thinking about how could we get to a Big 12 title. I think it's realistic, but I'm not sure how realistic. And again, that is nothing against Texas Tech and what this team is and can be and will improve to be. It's, oh my goodness, Arizona is that good. And the fact that we play at Arizona, if you can go in, correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but if we can go into Arizona, to Tucson, and win that game at Arizona, would that be more impressive to you guys than the Houston win or the BYU win?
Easily.
100%. Easily.
Yeah.
Okay. They're undefeated. Okay. I mean, that's the number 1 team in the country right now.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm not trying to take anything away from the other 2 games.
Houston last year. Sorry, Conrad. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. No, I was just saying I didn't want to. I was curious what you guys thought, because going into that building right now with them playing at the level they are, that would have to be one of the best wins in program history in the regular season.
For sure. I mean, if you pulled that off, you already have 2 or 3 of the better wins in the entire country, beating Duke on a neutral, and then Houston and BYU. If you pulled that off, that'd be massive for your resume.
Yeah, when you look at Arizona too, because we were talking a week ago, and I think it was like, man, it's going to be pretty tough to catch the Big 12. And I even said, I don't know if I care about the Big 12. Like, I just want to peak in March, get healthy, get a top 5 seed in the tournament, and think you'll be good to go. I'll admit my opinion's changed a little bit now. Now that you're sitting 6-1, you've won 5 straight. I'm just kind of starting to think, okay, if you can split Arizona and Iowa State, you've got Houston and BYU out of the way, you have a chance. Arizona does look clearly like the number 1 team in the country, but you tell me how you compete against Houston on the road, how you beat them at home, beating Duke on the neutral floor. You can't convince me that you can't beat Arizona, Clay. Like, I feel like, if anything, you're just a touch below them right now, but that's just because they haven't lost anybody. Like, I don't think Iowa State is necessarily above and beyond better than you now, where I might have said that 2 weeks ago. So you're right there, in my opinion.
Agreed. I feel like the schedule is not doing us favors because we do still have a game in Provo as well. I think the last game of the year. So you still
that's
have
right. We do go on the road to Provo. I forgot about that. Yep.
So we have trips to Arizona, Iowa State, and BYU. It's going to be tough. I was going to ask y'all, like, what record do y'all think wins? Do y'all think that 15-3 would get a share, or do you think you have to go 16-2?
Man, I mean, just looking at Arizona right now at 20-0, I mean, they would have to. You're essentially saying a team that is pretty much cakewalked to a 20-0 record would have to hit a pretty big slump to even lose 3 games in the conference to end the season. So I don't know. I could see it. You'd have to beat Arizona. Like, you'd have to be one of those 3 losses. So 15-3, I think, would get a share if you beat Arizona, because they could definitely drop 2 games somewhere, but they're already 7-0 in conference. They do have a huge game against BYU on Monday night at BYU. So that would be a game you hope they might be able to fall. They do go at Kansas. They go at Houston. So there's games they could still drop. Like, their schedule isn't easy.
Yeah.
Nothing's easy in the Big 12. But, 15-3, I could see a share, Conrad.
Yeah, I think that will or could happen if you do beat Arizona. But that's the only way that happens. If you don't beat Arizona, I don't think that's possible, in my opinion, because I don't think they drop 3 outside of Texas Tech. Texas Tech has to be one of those 3. So I would agree with you guys.
They do have an insanely tough stretch. You mentioned a couple of the games, but they have to go to Allen Fieldhouse, then they host Tech, host BYU, and then to Houston. That's in a 12-day span in February. So I feel like that tough stretch will define their season.
Right. And
if they win all 4 of those,
greatest team of all time.
Just go ahead and cut down the nets and send them to Tucson, because that tournament's over. I mean, maybe not, but at the same time, that would be incredible if they won all 4 of those games.
And the Big 12, dude, continues to show their depth. Like a UCF team, they're 4-3 in conference, but they're 15-4 overall. That's been an impressive team. And then Kansas has won 4 straight. So this Kansas team that looked a little rocky early on, they're sitting at 15-5 and ranked 19th in the country. Again, the AP poll comes out today. We're recording this on Sunday. AP poll will be out Monday. But this conference continues just to add depth and add teams. And so no matter what, like UCF on Saturday for Texas Tech, that's no cakewalk. Like that, and you lost to them last year at home in that stunner, and we were thinking the sky's falling then. So you just can never take a day off. Maybe against Utah,
against Baylor
or Baylor, yeah. But
I'm just kidding.
There's so many good teams in this conference, so you never know. Like Arizona could lose to someone we don't necessarily expect them to as well.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I do think this year, though, the line between the top and the bottom is probably clearer than it's been in a while. Like, it seems like there's a clear top tier and a clear bottom tier.
Yeah, right now the bottom, Conrad, just for your pleasure. Baylor 1-6, Kansas State 1-6. This is in conference. Utah 1-6. So that's pretty bad. And then you've got 4 teams at 2-5 in Oklahoma State, Colorado, Arizona State, and Cincinnati. TCU, Conrad, sitting there at 3-4 in conference. So that's kind of that line. TCU is kind of the line, I guess, where average meets good, moving up that way. So we'll see, man. It's something that is going to be an exciting February, but Texas Tech has just as good a shot, I would say, especially with only 1 loss, as Arizona does right now. So.
Yeah, I agree. And Brendan, speaking of days off, remember we had Grant McCaslin on a few months ago. Had the pleasure of talking with him, getting to know him a little bit, and he did tell you at one point that you could play for him. And so
he did.
I just want to remind the listeners, remind Grant, if you're listening, we know We hope you are, but you're probably not. That's all right. But, if you need a player that you want to come in and give some guys some rest, Brennan Baxter, washed up point guard, Richardson Eagles.
No. JJ Pierce.
Sorry,
Mustangs.
Pierce Mustangs. Sorry,
I did start my senior year. Coach McCaslin, with the new transfer portal rules, I'm more than happy to apply for eligibility. I'm sure at 29 years old, I'd find a way to get it still too. I never went pro, so I think I'm allowed in. Based
What's
off
your
the
NIL deal,
rules.
Brennan?
Oh,
what's your NIL?
I'm pretty expensive. Trust me, I'm a pretty expensive get.
$30.
But we'll see. Yeah, 50
combos from Chick-fil-A.
Yeah, Chick-fil-A gift card. Chick-fil-A gift card would actually be great, man. If I could just get free food, I'm good, man. We'll see. But no, Coach McCaslin, we know you're a big fan of the show. We appreciate you listening every week. If y'all didn't know that, it's a fact. Just take my word for it. So, all right, well, let's get to our Tommy Tubervilles of the week. But before we do that, business owners, real quick, if your marketing strategy is we'll figure it out later, Wonder Tree exists for a reason. Strategy, ads, creative, all handled. They're also our exclusive advertising partner. So yes, this is a very biased statement, and they're a presenting sponsor of our show. So thank you, Wonder Tree, and business owners. We are here for you as well. So with that, Tommy Tubervilles of the week. No Zyler this week. He got snowed in at his family's ranch house. He has he said
He's
the pipes are
suffering.
broken, no water. Z might be gone. We don't know. So prayers out for Z. We'll do a wellness check on him here soon. But Clayton, I'm going to go to you first for your Tommy Tuberville of the week.
Yeah, my Tommy of the week is the Buffalo Bills. This actually has nothing to do with them losing to the Broncos. I'm sorry, Brennan. You don't have to listen to this. But it has absolutely nothing to do with the game. Like, playoff losses happen, but I feel like everything since that point has just been extremely embarrassing from the owner and the GM. First, Sean McDermott talking about the refs in the press conference, and then the Twitter account tweeting, like, standing up for Buffalo. Then he gets fired less than 24 hours later. And then the owner trying to place blame on who decided to draft Keon Coleman on McDermott. And then the clips coming out of Brandon Beaton talking about Keon Coleman sure seemed like he wanted to draft him. And then interviewing Phillip Rivers, I feel like just it all has screamed like an unserious organization. I actually feel for Brennan. I feel for Josh Allen. They have to be a part of that ownership group. So Buffalo Bills, you guys are my Tommies of the week. And I'll go ahead and give Zyler's too. He wanted us to give one to Nate Oates. Nate Oates has been outspoken about the professionals in college basketball. He's been strongly against it. And then this week, he brings back Charles Bediako, who played for Bama like 3 years ago, played in the G League, and brought him back and gave a whole speech about how it's actually what he's doing is different because they had a spot open. So it's not taking away from a freshman. I actually feel like this one could backfire on Bama in the long run. If the NCAA does come back and rule him ineligible, they've already played him. So I'm interested to see how that turns out. But the Tennessee Volunteers Twitter account took a shot at them. I don't know if y'all saw that, but after they beat Bama with the final score, they said the Delaware Bluecoats are next, which is Bediako's G League team. So Nate Oates, you get a Tommy from Zyler.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a great one. And Z, we miss you. Look what hat I've got sitting right next to me, by the way, here. I'll put it up for the camera to see it. Just sitting right there. Go Bills, man. Yeah, no, Clay, that's a good one. It's tough, right? It's so funny with the Buffalo Bills, real quick, if I can go on a 30-second soapbox, because, yes, you played horrible, and it looks bad, and everything that's happened, but you were still like a questionable call away from playing this last week in the AFC Championship game. Like, the roster, the defense isn't great, and you can trash on Bean, and he probably should have traded for a receiver, but you were still there. Like, it still says something. Like, you're still there. You still got Josh Allen. There's time. It just looks bad. Like, it was a clear mishandling of how you did it. And hopefully they get a guy to stable it. But they're a deserving Tommy. We got to own it. We got to own it. You're right. But we'll see what happens in 2026, man. But we're still reeling here as a Western New York native myself.
Sorry, man.
It's okay. Conrad, who's your Tommy of the week?
Yeah, I'm not going to get my Tommy yet because I have a 5-minute soapbox on the Buffalo Bills for everybody. No, I need to say this. Even when the Bills are struggling, which is pretty common for their history, us Texas Tech Chiefs are also struggling because this is the first Sunday in 7-8 years that we will not be watching Pat Mahomes in the AFC Championship game. Pat, if you're listening, we know you are. Hope you're doing well, recovering from the ACL. Looking forward to see you back in the AFC Championship next year. But man, it's a tough time, and even the Buffalo Bills are struggling. The Chiefs are making massive improvements to their offensive staff, bringing back Eric Bieniemy. Just a very classy, well-run organization by the Hunt family and Coach Reed and Brett Veach. So just want to throw that out there and give a compliment to the Kansas City Chiefs, the world's best organization. But my Tommy Tuberville is it's not a person, it's not a team, it's not an organization, it's not a school. It's a idea. And the idea is that the college football schedule was not changed for this next year. We're not talking about the playoff. We're talking about when the season starts, when the season ends, and the transfer portal calendar. I have no clue why this was not changed. Everyone sees it as an issue. Every school understands that it's a problem. Every conference commissioner, even Greg Sankey, has acknowledged that this schedule, the way it is right now, is a problem. And so the fact that it was not altered even at all just screams to me, unless there's something I don't know, which that very well could be true, that it's just not that big of a deal to some people. And I just think that's wrong because it's not good for the coaches, not good for the players, and not good for college football as a whole. So the college football calendar not being amended in any way at all, that is my Tommy Tuberville of the week.
That's a good one. I'm going to stay with the college football world. I don't know if y'all saw this, but Dabo Swinney went on an 8-minute rant on Pete Golding and Ole Miss and them tampering with a player that Clemson had signed, Luke Farelli, a linebacker there. And Dabo had text message receipts and had timelines on this. And I've never seen a press conference like this. And so I think the system, Conrad, to your point, like the system is my Tommy Tuberville. The fact that this is going on and no one is overseeing this type of problem that's happening, regardless if you're benefiting or not. And players can choose, but it's the player and the system. Like Luke had said that he was committed to Clemson. He was going to stay.
He was in class.
Yeah, he was in class. And then 4 hours later on a Thursday, he's in the compliance office. And Dabo Swinney is reading this to you in the press conference. If you haven't seen it, look it up and check it out. But the tampering system, Ole Miss, Pete Golding, you are my Tommy Tuberville of the week. Just due to the fact that you just wouldn't, like sending a picture of a $1 million contract and having Trinidad Chambliss call and to a linebacker and like just tampering without any sort of repercussions, man. That's tough. But the system of the portal is my Tommy of the week as well, Conrad.
Yeah, I just think it's crazy. I mean, the Pete Golding era at Ole Miss is probably going to rival Lane Kiffin's because at least Lane Kiffin won. I don't think Pete Golding is going to win. I think that is just a disaster waiting to happen, in my opinion. And there were some people online that were not fans of him getting that job. Some well-known people, and so it's. I don't know, man. That is the system, I guess, allows it, but at the same time, if a head coach is texting a player, I guess the portal was still open, but there's no agency rules, there's none of that stuff. I don't understand it. And that's a problem, right? That's a huge problem with college sports and college football right now. But, if he's going to take advantage of it, that's what he's going to do. But Dabo had every right to do everything he did, in my opinion.
Yeah, and they should go after him. I think you should 100% go after them in any way you can in the law that allows it to, because it's just ridiculous. And I don't know who all's doing it. I don't think Texas Tech is doing this way. I think they're just handling business as is and paying people the right way. But it's just shady, man. And it sucks for the sport. And the fact that you have no one overseeing this at all is crazy. It's a sport we love so much. We love college sports. That's why we have a podcast on it. But yet the system's in place. We can't get anyone that's intelligent to run this thing. Like no one.
This is how it's always been. It's just above board now. It was under the table. Now it's above the table. Like this is not really new necessarily.
Right. That's a good point. That's a good point.
We just know about it now because coaches can talk about it.
Coaches can talk about it in a press conference. It's great TV. It was, and the fact that it was Dabo too, and all like you not adapting to the portal and him being kind of the anti-NIL guy there for a couple years, that he's the one pretty much ratting out Ole Miss, I thought was even funnier. So, well, we will be back on Thursday to break down the UCF matchup in Orlando. We invite you to subscribe on YouTube, follow, rate, review on Spotify and Apple, and make sure to follow us at the Broadway Shuffle on social media. We also have a special interview with softball head coach Jerry Glasgow this week releasing as well. So we will see you guys on Thursday. Recom Tech, and everyone have a great week.
He makes the catch. He's going all the way. 20, 15.